bless the great state of Iowa.
Ted Cruz, he worked harder than just about anybody else. That's why I think he sits atop the polls this morning, as now there is nobody left in Iowa as they all move on to New Hampshire. Trey Harden, ABC News political analyst. Good morning, Trey. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, McGraw. How you doing?
Good. What are your initial thoughts as you watch the returns from last night?
Well, I mean, it was a must-win for Cruz, and I don't really think it's that unexpected. I mean, you know, politics is a game of expectations, and last night Ted Cruz met the expectations. Donald Trump did not meet expectations, and the biggest victory of the night, because of what it means going forward, Marco Rubio far exceeded expectations.
I guess you play the game now, you know, if I can steal from this one and if that one drops out, imagine what it would look like if Trump wasn't in, right? I mean, you're assuming that those Trump supporters would go for Cruz. So I guess Cruz's argument going forward is if Carson drops and I can steal a little bit from Donald Trump, boy, I am unbeatable.
Well, first of all, that is Ted Cruz's one moment in this campaign. I don't think his candidacy or campaign is really sustainable. I think what we learned from last night is that this is going to be, going forward, a competitive two-person race between Trump and Rubio. The biggest takeaway for me last night, again, as it relates to the Rubio success, which far exceeded expectations, I think, is that clearly what we had been talking about over the last few months about those Trump supporters who had been answering the polling questions, that emotion that we agree is very real, and that people liked having him in the race and like that he's, breaking the China and all of that. But it's clear to me that Trump supporters showed up at the caucus, many of them, and switched their vote to Marco Rubio because they had that kind of vote of conscience of thinking of a serious candidate. To me, Rubio takes that away from Iowa as a huge, huge moment, because now voters in New Hampshire and South Carolina and, down south see that there is an alternative to Trump. They may like having Trump in the race. They may like that he's been tough and talking the way he is. But when it comes down to it, they think about who can beat Hillary Clinton and who is going to be presidential. And I think they now have an option because of how well he did last night in Marco Rubio.
Why are you dismissing Ted Cruz as this is his one moment in this campaign?
Well, first of all, we got to look at history. I mean, Mike Huckabee won Iowa in 2008. He wasn't around much after that. Rick Santorum won in 2012. He wasn't around after that. Iowa is it's a small amount of voters. It is as hardcore evangelical as it gets. It is not even close to representative of what the other states, the voting makeup is. And, I think Ted Cruz has a better campaign than Mike Huckabee and Rick Santorum from years ago, and he's got more money, so I think he sticks around for a while. But his campaign and his kind of wearing some of his things on his sleeve like he does, listen, I'm a spiritual person as well, but I mean, it's just the reality is that it doesn't play well with a majority of voters, and I just don't think his campaign is sustainable.
Let's talk the other side. It was a dead heat. They don't even wait around to see who wins. They're off to the next one. But what are your thoughts on the Sanders-Clinton side?
Well, I mean, just fascinating. I mean, if you're Sanders, no matter what the final result is, it's a huge win for him. I mean, as he said, he was down 47% like 6 months ago, and now look at it. She's got a race on her hands. I think ultimately she'll get the nomination, but I think it's clear to me a couple things. One, she's just so unrelatable, and if you looked at her speech last night, I guess her acceptance speech, if you will, she's just so unenjoyable to listen to and so unrelatable to people. She just is not her husband or anything. But the other thing is, I think there are a lot of Democrats that, just didn't like the fact that she was kind of the assumed nominee from the beginning, and they also are very worried about a couple shoes that could drop this summer or fall legally that they're worried could put their party in a difficult spot come November. So I think that Sanders thing was very telling, and he's certainly going to win New Hampshire, and then see if that'll at least get him some more money to give her a harder time going forward.
I talked to a couple of people who were knocking on doors up in Iowa who were Democrats, and reluctantly, begrudgingly, they admitted that the Bernie Sanders rally is full of energy, and Hillary Clinton rally is devoid of any energy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as someone that's been you and I have been following this stuff for years, and I've worked in the political campaign world. I mean, I watched Hillary Clinton's speech last night, and it just makes you want to go to sleep. I mean, she just has no. That's going to be her biggest challenge going forward, certainly with the general electorate. I mean, for example, one of the largest growing voting blocs in this country are independent women. So when I think about the general election, people are thinking, well, could be the first female president. She has a huge problem with women voters, in my opinion. Maybe not on the Democrat side, but in the terms of independence, she's just not. She doesn't give them something to relate to. I mean, she's just not that great of a candidate. I mean, clearly she's going to raise money. Clearly she's got the pedigree and the name. But, oh, man, is she just a horrible candidate.
Trey Harden, ABC News political analyst. Get some sleep. Thanks for checking in, Trey.
You got it, buddy. Take care.
8:26 here, Big 550 KTRS. Let's talk about my friends at